Hey guys, it's Roscoe, and on the Space Couch today, me and Mike watched this yesterday, wasn't it?
It was yesterday.
Babylon 5, The Lost Tales, which is the last we've had of Babylon 5, I think, unless Legend of the Rangers was after. So, thoughts, because I introduced Mike to Babylon 5. He's seen everything, I think.
I have.
All 5 seasons, I think the spin-off movies, this, Crusade, The Most Holy.
Yeah. Yeah, the best line in the whole series.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Thoughts?
I really like this. It's very low budget. It's nearly all CGI background. I think maybe when Lockley and the priest are talking in the room, that might be...
That's about the only time it wasn't CGI, yeah.
But basically, 2 short stories. One focused on Lockley, one focused on Sheridan. And the first one, they have to exorcise a demon on Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and... the delving deep into religious philosophy by the writer, who's an atheist. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and considering he is an atheist, one might expect that, he's going to have quite a skewed view on the subject, but he was, like we were saying, quite sympathetic to the religious viewpoint of such concepts like faith, hope, of what those things mean.
Yeah. In the future, 200 plus years from now, where there's aliens, and as the guy says, daily wonders greater than the burning bush.
Yes.
And all that sort of stuff. But the other great line that he was saying was how physicists and scientists have come up with quantum quark constellation prizes, particles whose actions hint at a greater intelligence. Yeah.
And this was coming from the priest.
Yeah.
And it was a really fascinating conversation. I would have liked to have seen more of that, but I am aware of the fact that it was just supposed to be a short story. But yeah, the conversations between what was her name again? Lockley and the priest. Yeah. They were absolutely fascinating.
And their conversations with the possessed guy was fascinating as well.
Yeah.
The devil is in the details.
Yeah. And he was good in it.
He was good in it. And the camera angles, especially when they were shooting him, because it would come in towards him, but then it would kind of go like say coming up from like here, so you'd see like the underside of his face like this.
Well, yeah, I mean there was also other tricks they used, because some of those angles would come in and then they may look. There was one point where it was just looking at the priest's hands. And
yes, and he was like doing something like this or something.
Yeah, doing something like this, and it was giving you an indication of how nervous and probably fearful he was of the situation.
And obviously the demon could pick up on that.
Yeah.
And trying to tempt him and put his soul at risk.
But yeah, definitely top marks for that first story, because one of the things I did reflect on afterwards is that actually, I don't know how long it was. It might have been about 45 minutes or maybe 40 minutes.
Something like that, yeah.
It might have been shorter, but what I realised afterwards, we essentially were just watching 3 people in a room.
Yeah.
With a green screen in the background. Yeah. And you were captivated throughout.
Yeah. And particularly because of the nature of the writing, it was strong writing on all of them. You didn't even really notice the background. There's a couple of scenes where they have the special effects, like when he wraps the station in fire and he's floating in the air and there's a great big long tunnel, like in the black hole at the end, but all in flames, and all that sort of stuff.
But I mean, it's done in that stylized Babylon 5 way, and once you accept that, you know what you're going to get with Babylon 5, and it's not about the CG or how realistic these things are.
It was always about the characters
and the concept
story.
Yeah.
And it was great. And Lockley's speech to him at the end, when she figures out that he is actually from Earth, not the stars, and all that stuff. It was like, you don't belong in that dream. Her delivery was just brilliant. She was great in it as well. Top marks. That's one I've watched a bunch of times just by itself without watching the second one. But we did watch the second one, and that is set 10 years they're both set at the same time, 10 years after the founding of the Interstellar Alliance, so 10 years after the end of the TV show. And they're having the big celebration, and it's kind of divided into 2 parts. The first part is Sheridan and this reporter who looks just like Kim Cattrall, but isn't her.
Yeah.
Just having a conversation, reflecting on Babylon 5, which was fascinating. The graphics they used in that scene was really interesting as well. When you see the station basically as the backdrop that he's watching, it was so much improved, the graphics, from the original show, which were great at the time. Yeah. They're still all right now.
Probably done on an Amiga 500.
Yeah.
For those of you that actually know what that is.
Yeah. But so was just an interesting little interplay. But the main part of this one is the fact that Galen, the Technomage from Crusade, enters into Sheridan's dream and basically tells him 30 years from now, New York and the rest of Earth are going to get destroyed by a massive war fleet led by the Centauri.
Yes.
And then they pick up the Prince Regent of the Centauri, who is the guy who's going to be doing that 30 years from now. So it's like Galen's been saying, you got to kill him.
Yeah.
You know, like, Hitler was a child once, Genghis Khan was a child once, and every single day they were turning into monsters. We know that this guy will be bad in the future. Yeah. Kill him now. And so Sheridan doesn't want to, you know, because he doesn't want to be killing innocent, well, not innocent, but people.
He just doesn't like killing people.
He doesn't like killing people. And so, but he thinks, I don't see any other way around it. So they're going to go in a pair of Star Furies, him and the Prince, who's really into military ships and technical specifications and weapons and tactics.
I mean, we should maybe talk a little bit about that character.
Yeah,
I mean,
we will talk about him, actually. If you know Babylon 5, he's just a proper Centauri. Yeah. I mean, he had the right accent, he had the very short crest.
Very
proud, the peacock outfit, all that sort of thing, as you'd expect a Prince Regent. Third in line to the throne. Yeah. And there's a great line that he was saying to Sheridan where, because Londo is the emperor, and Londo says he would trust Sheridan with his life. Right. Then he said he would trust him with my life because he had plans for next week. Yeah. And Sheridan starts laughing because that is just pure Londo. And the kid's just standing there and it's like,
this isn't funny.
This isn't funny. It's hilarious if you know Londo. But yes, so that character was really well played and everything. And they were quite effective at showing that he is right on the edge. You know, he could go either way.
But he had that innocence of a child. Yeah. And you could see he was clearly the product of his environment.
Yeah, and you know what the Centauri court is like. Backstabbing, manipulation, deceit, lies.
Yeah. Everything is transactional.
Everything's transactional. And he even says he knows how to do all those things.
Yeah.
But there's no one.
But he had this childlike curiosity about an act of kindness.
Yes.
You know, and essentially that was the seed which Sheridan could see that if I plant this seed and nurture that, I can possibly change this future. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, because the plan is they're going to go in a pair of Star Furies from Sheridan's ship when they get to Babylon 5 on this ceremonial procession to the station. The kid can get to fly about. But once they hit a certain speed, there'll be a weapons malfunction in Sheridan's Star Fury that'll blow up the other guy. And everything. It's an accident no one could have foreseen. We're terribly sorry. All that sort of thing. Problem solved. Sheridan really doesn't want to do it, but he's going along with it. But then he's thinking back, because the kid has told him he's been having this dream, and the same that Sheridan's been having dreams of him in the Star Fury at that exact moment, and then something wonderful happens. Yeah, and it's like the countdown is getting close to when it's going to be firing the weapons, and he's thinking back to what Galen said when he asked him, "Is there any way to avoid this future?" And Galen said, "There are ways to avoid this." And Sheridan says, "Ways."
Yeah, but then proceeded to then talk about killing the kid. You know, so it was down to Sheridan's, I guess, attention to detail and his compassionate nature for him to realise actually there are other options here. Yeah.
And he then offers for Prince Venturi to stay with him and Delenn and their son David on Minbar until, I guess, he's a bit older and will assume the throne, or whatever that was going to be, like 20 years' time or something. And that is how he resolves that problem. Galen's not really happy, but he's not unhappy about it either. Yeah. But there was a great line from that segment where they're in the dream, I think it was, him and Sheridan, and he shows them his vision of New York getting devastated, and Galen says to him, "Do you understand that this is real?" And Sheridan says, "I understand the difference between dream real, magic real, and real real." and this was real. Yeah. So that was a great line as well. And also, I think that's the one. Is that the one that had the mysteries once solved and never quite as interesting line? Yeah. Which I'd said without thinking about it on one of our Thing videos, and it was then repeated in, I forget which of the two tales it was, but it was in this definitely.
Yeah. It's all connected.
Well, like great writing, you remember lines from so many movies and TV shows that you forget are from movies or TV shows, and you just use as quotations. Yeah. But yeah, it was really good as well.
Yeah, it was a nice trip down memory lane because even though I have watched every single episode of Babylon 5, it was a bit of a blitz, essentially, isn't it? We just sat there every night watching one after the other.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it in
It's been
years. So it was a new experience, but then little familiar things.
Familiar one as well.
Yeah, it was nice. It was good to watch.
Yeah, it was. Of the two, which was your favourite? I mean, they both have good parts.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both good, I mean.
Okay, I'll say the first one, because of the content, the discussions they had around religion, faith, science, where do those two meet, what questions do they answer, and so on. And the challenges it has for modern day religions in that time. I found that really fascinating. So that was my favourite for that. And the simplicity of the episode, the way it was constructed, you had essentially 3 people in a room, and it was the writing that kept it together. And some good directorial camera work.
Yeah.
Second one, obviously I do like, mainly for nostalgic reasons of seeing Sheridan again, because like I said earlier, I haven't watched it in years, and the moment Bruce Boxleitner started speaking, it was like, that's Sheridan, I remember. The way he would deal with a situation or view a situation, it's like, yeah, I remember this character. So, yeah, but the first one was definitely...
Yeah, for me, the first one also, for all of those reasons as well, although I do really like the second one, because it's got some great lines in it, and there's a lot more CGI work in this one, I think. With the attack on New York or whatever, and Star Fury sequence and stuff. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. Like I said, this, as far as I'm aware, is the most recent we've had of Babylon 5. There's always a talk of a reboot and everything. We'll see. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and interestingly, didn't you say it was Bruce Boxleitner's birthday recently?
70th birthday within the last week, I think.
Yeah, 70 years old.
70 years old.
He was in Tron.
Yes.
As a young man. And I was there watching that, so how old
and
were we?
Was I. So was I, I mean, yeah. So, yeah, as kids, so that was our childhood, the things that we watched, yes. And they also mentioned some of the other cast members in this, the actors who played Franklin and Jakar as having gone beyond the rim.
Yeah, which was a nice little touch.
Yeah, and that is like in Star Wars to say they're one with the Force when one of the actors has died. For Babylon 5, it's beyond the rim. Yeah. But yes, that was a nice little touch as well. And Garibaldi gets mentioned. He's also passed away.
That was more recent.
That was more recent. That was a couple of years ago. Yes, so many of them have now, unfortunately. Yeah. There's Londo, Delenn, Sheridan. Who else is left? Ivanova, Lita. Yeah. That's it. I think the others, most of them have gone, unfortunately. Beyond the rim indeed. But yes, great stuff. Babylon 5 is always worth watching. You should definitely check it out if you haven't. Some of the stories in there.
I think this would actually be a good reference point, even if you have not seen Babylon 5, if you wanted a little taster of what type of subject matter would be covered in an episode.
Because you could watch this without having seen any of them. It's self-contained.
Yeah, it's just 2 nice short stories.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. Like I said, we both thoroughly enjoyed this, and we absolutely loved Babylon 5 as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you've seen this, why don't you let us know what you think of it? Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment suggestion for a current topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.